will see everybody coming out. Okay, we don't start to give like this on the road, please, yes? Till we get there, and then we make all the kids next to us. Because if you start to give them, they'll start to grab.
We are pulling into Arazane. Children greet us full of curiosity as our tour bus comes to a stop. The Jews of this region have been noted for their independence from many outside influences. The village is on a site along one of Morocco's many ancient caravan routes that continued onto the major city of Taroudant. Rafi, our tour guide, was instrumental in bringing the Jewish history of this village to light. He came to the village years ago and sat in with some local men and casually asked had any Jews lived there. Without hesitation, the men told him that indeed Jews had lived in the village and there still exists remnants of the Jewish quarter. He was then told to go see a man by the name of Harim.
I just love you the door. I like doors. I like doors. You should get Ray on.
Once he met Harim, he told Rafi that he had been waiting 43 years to meet him. The rabbi that left the key with him told him to give it to any Jews that wished to come and worship. Harim was a teenager at the time, but still remembers Jewish prayers and songs sung during his youth. So we are here in Arazane to meet Harim and see the centuries-old slat, the local term for the worship space.
Other directions, why do we come this long distance to meet, to walk through these streets and meet this man Harim? Why? So years ago, it's probably now 30 years ago, when Rafi started to do his, you gotta listen, Jeff.
واقول له دكتوريليس هذول من السنة يخلونا من السكات وحقيقة الله ويلي يا صاحبي غير شوية ومرة قبل الهضرة.
So, probably 30 years ago, when Rafi started to do his research, he went from village to village, as he's probably told you several times, wherever he heard that Jews had lived, on the assumption that in each of those places, people would have left all kinds of things. Photographs, books, clothing, personal objects. When people left, they could only take what they could carry in their hands. So there would be things here that he would bring back to Casablanca, to the museum. One year, he was told that in this village of Arazane, there had been several hundred Jews in the community. So he came. He drove in, like we just did, in a four-wheel drive. He walked on that main street. Stores were open. There was a cafe. He went into the cafe. He asked the man a simple question. Were there Jews in this village? Yes, of course there were Jews. Well, is there a synagogue? At this point, the man looked at him and said, you know, we were either babies or we weren't even born when the Jews left. We really don't know. But if you walk through the streets of the village and ask for Harim, you will come to a man who knows all about the Jews. So Rafi kept walking, and he came finally right to where we're standing. And he knocked on the door of that building right there, and this man, 30 or so years younger, answered the door, and Rafi asked him the same question. Were there Jews in this village? Yes, he said. Was there a synagogue? At this point, Harim reaches into the pocket of his jalabia, which he's not wearing at the moment, and he takes out this wooden key, and he hands it to Rafi, and he says to him in Hebrew, Baruch haba, welcome. Where have you been? I've been waiting for you for 45 years. Rafi wasn't 45 years old at the time. He said, what do you mean you've been waiting for me for 45 years? Harim said, when the rabbi left, when the Jews left, the rabbi said to me, Harim, here is the key to the synagogue. If a Jew ever comes to this village and asks for the synagogue, give him this key. And then Harim recited Shema Yisrael, because his whole life, from the time he was a little boy, he lived next door to this synagogue. He heard Jewish prayer. He memorized all portions. In fact, we've been inside the synagogue when his memory was better than it is now, and he would recite for us, when our students were here, the blessings, the brachot that the bar mitzvah boy says over the Torah when he stands before the ark.
I have some of hers also. It's yours.
Thank you.
I know all the friends, we hand it out. I kind of want it. Eddie! Thank you.
Come. Fill up every seat. No, push all the way down so everybody can get in. Okay?
The buildings were all made with packed mud. Some scholars date this community as being over 800 years old. Inside, you see Hebrew writing and Amazigh writing on the outside, indicating the Amazigh Judeo existence in the region. Still standing and restored is a small sanctuary and a mikveh bath. Visitors today can view the synagogue and meet Harim, the old guardian, who still recalls the Hebrew prayers of his Jewish neighbors 45 years after they left.
Fill up every space on this inside piece. You can sit on there too. Okay? On this side, what happens with you? Come on in, sit down over here. That's it. Fill up all these seats. More? Any more? You're the last? Where's Rafi?
He's sitting down.
We need Rafi. Unbelievable. So
Father, my grandfather, my great-grandfather, So we estimated it as 500 years until we have a very famous professor called Professor Sabar from Jerusalem University. I brought the group here, and he came here and he was stunned. And he said, Rafi, you found a Jew. This must be more over 800 years old. So we wanted to preserve it. And I tell you one thing is that anything happens, something, when it rains a lot, because it's made as adobe, made with mud and straw. So always, when the water comes, the foundation falls down and he cracks. Anything happens here, Harim quickly takes the phone. Please do not let this place go down, please. So all the time I called Peter, I said, please, we need a little donation on it. We just had to restore all that wall because it was all cracking down and some of the water was coming from outside, so we had to make a big stones of the foundation. And I asked Peter and he donated, the money for keeping, because this is one thing that shows where Jews they came to until where they came to. So when we say the Toshavim, the Berber Jews, they didn't came from Israel as the Berbers, but they assimilated with the Berbers. We don't have here a Jewish quarter like in the big cities, like in the Mela in Marrakesh or Fez. You will see it's very far from the Medina. Here they lived together. The Jews and the Muslims, they lived together. There was no separation. Even he was telling me that he was a woman, that when the Berber woman goes to the farm, to do the work in the farm, she will give her child to a Jewish woman, and the Jewish woman will breastfeed him. To show you the relationship was with the Jews and the Berbers. So it was some people here, even they cried when the Jews, they went. You see, so for him, to keep something like this is for him like it's a blessing. That for that he said to me, I said to him, why you didn't, like Peter said, why you don't use it as your own place or something? He said, this is the barakah. That is the blessing what the Jews left.
the things that we're all thinking about. Singing Oseh Shalom, a prayer which basically talks about bringing peace to the world, means that those of us who can sing it in Hebrew will do so. And I encourage those who come from different traditions or are not familiar with the Jewish tradition to just use the opportunity to sort of imagine what the power of prayer in a space like this really can be. Whatever kind of a believer or a non-believer you may be, when you sort of enter a space like this, there's a requirement, I think, of some suspension of our native potential cynicism and doubt, because it's really quite extraordinary that something like this is preserved in such a place, in such a way. It contains within it, you think about it for a moment, when you have a space of hundreds of years, so the memory, the sound, the music, the personalities, the character that's in the space, whatever you come to that space from, is really quite powerful. And it doesn't take much for us to allow ourselves to just connect to that. Again, whatever traditions we come from or we've left, etc., there's something very powerful when you enter a space like this and realize its history. Even if you only think for the last 60-something years since the Jews left this village, just the idea that we're standing in this space so beautifully preserved and cared for, so simple, right? There's nothing, this is not all those synagogues all over Europe and in the communities that we come from. It's just so simple. But the power of it, I think you can really feel. And it's been a privilege of mine personally and of Kibbutzim's to be here year after year and pay tribute to Harim for just being a decent, kind human being. And our coming here does that. So you have now joined that. So those of us who can sing together, let's sing together. And those of you who are just going to add your thoughts or feelings, it'll all work. It'll either go around or it'll go up, whatever direction your spiritual self goes in. Oseh Shalom Bimromav hu yaseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imru amen. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, all humanity.
I grew up.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I used to DJ at clubs.
That where I was like in Bolivia, in my university in South India.
You must. Amlo is argan oil and honey and oil, and it tastes
It's not well
only
enough
like
space
peanut butter,
there
but
also.
it is the magic. Yes, that.
All right.
Yeah, they're shysters.
Yep, they are.
Yeah, shysters.
Yeah, girl, Korean. I know. I was shocked.
No, Korean movies are all over.
Oh, that's it.
And the back. You were there.
We found your friend.
You went to see my friend. She's amazing. You were welcome. Amazing. Yes. That's the woman that she told us the story. I want my. She showed you her kitchen. Yes.
And the sheets.
Incredible. والخروف.
You're doing yourself. ايش قلت لك؟ ايش قلت لك؟
قالت لي ورجتنا الخروف هي عملته لحالها. سلختي لحالك.
She
cut it herself.
عندي أبلات. قولها عندي بنات. عندي جوج بنات.
عندها she has two girls and a son.
Wait, where?
In Rafi's research, he believes that between 60 and 80 Jewish families once lived in Arazane who spoke indigenous languages as well as Arabic. They worked in leather goods, tailoring, and made finished silver goods destined for Marrakesh. According to Harim, Jews and Muslims lived in harmony. They fellowshipped in each other's homes, participated in celebrations, feasts, and weddings. As mentioned before, Harim had so many Jewish friends that he could recite Hebrew verses of the Torah. Starting in the 1940s, Rafi believes that's when Jews started leaving the area. It was well into the 1960s that the last Jew left, most likely for Israel. The people of the village were welcoming and were excited to see this multi-ethnic group from the United States.
Where's number 29? We're missing 29. Thank you. Where is 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40. We're missing one. We're missing one. No? Where's 22? Where's number 22?
Yes,
Sir.
22 is here!
As we approach our hotel, we have been informed that there is a serious plumbing issue with water that needs to be fixed and is being worked on. It may be fixed by the time we arrive in this beautiful environment, but it might not be. So if it's not fixed, the way to respond is the following. We will need 2 doubles of men to volunteer to be in a suite of 4, and 2 doubles of women to be in a suite of 4. And that way, if the plumbing issue, and we all love water, if the plumbing issue is not repaired, then we need, again, 4 men, 2 and 2, to decide to come together into a suite of 4, and the same for 4 women. So I will